Misty, how are you? Hello, hello, great people. How's everybody? Katrina.
Hi, Terry.
Look at you. That's a beautiful picture, girl. I'm gonna need an autograph picture. I'm gonna need one. Dr. G.
Hey.
You're looking good. Hi,
Thank
Misty. How are you? How's Houston?
Huh?
I was just reaching out to Misty saying, how's Houston?
Oh, okay.
How's,
Great.
oh, that's good. We're having this intermittent weather that's creating allergy havoc down here in Dallas.
Oh, yeah, here too.
Yeah, it was 70 degrees today and it got down to 29. I don't think it knows what it wants to do. Welcome, Karen.
Hello, how is everybody?
We cannot complain. We got you on the call. It's over now. Give me a lottery ticket. Yeah, give me a lottery ticket. Make this work.
Well, it's good to see everybody.
Hey,
Hi.
everybody. Hi, Dr. Katrina.
Hey,
How's it going? You enjoy your birthday?
yeah, I have.
Oh,
Going good.
turned 21. Holla.
Mhm.
Well, this is a little chatting time until about 5 or 10 minutes. And we'll get it done. I'm getting all these text messages. Who are these people? Okay, people. So how's everybody doing? Any great stories, revelations, etc.
My little niece, she's my niece by choice, not niece by birth. She was on Kelly Clarkson a couple days ago.
Oh, wow.
Being featured, if you all remember, and a lot of you all supported when she first moved to Philadelphia and she opened up Harriet's bookstore, and it's named after Harriet Tubman, all Black authors. And she does everything from a program called From Page to Plate. And she's had Marcus Samuelson, she's had several folks cooking with her. Will Smith debuted his book in her shop when he went to Philadelphia. And she raised almost $300,000 by as a GoFundMe to be able to buy the building. And now she's heading a national campaign to be able to get enough signatures for Congress to make Harriet Tubman's birthday a national holiday. After she, almost a year after she opened Harriet's, she's now opened Ida's after Ida B. Wells, and she did that in New Jersey. And her philosophy is we don't need people to make our own heroes and monuments. We can do it ourselves. And so she did that 6 weeks before COVID hit. And she's soaring.
I know you're going to drop all this information in the chat. And while I'm sitting there celebrating you, Karen, I'm also going to shake my finger. How come we don't have these e-press releases? We own the black press. We don't need their press. We're going to put this in every paper.
That's true. That's true.
How old is she, Karen?
She is 40.
Okay.
She's almost 40. Yeah, she's almost 40. She isn't quite 40. Her older sister.
Okay, she's older than me.
Yeah, we're on the 21 train, right?
There you
Been
go.
around that almost 3 times.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, Pam.
She's a young woman.
How was the chat, your podcast talking about Judge Jackson?
It was good. It's always interesting when it was my first time ever talking with my daughter on the podcast. So that was interesting. Oh. And we got into critical race theory. We got into a number of things. So it was a deep discussion.
Well, we absolutely love that phenomenon, critical race theory. I'm gonna come up with something too. Probably call it CIT, critical ignorance theory.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, Karen.
Hi, Pam. How are you, beautiful?
Good. I'm good. I've been meaning to call you. You've been on my mind. And I need to do that. I need to catch up. Hey,
Please do.
Misty. Hey, everybody. I don't know. Dr. G, Katrina.
Hi,
Was
Pam.
it Joella? Hey, Jay. Oh, this is Joella and Loris.
Hey Pam, I saw your podcast was good.
Oh,
It was good.
thank you.
What's
Thank
up,
you.
Jade?
Hey everyone.
Hello.
How's our wonderful CDC?
Still, it's going well.
I'm gonna let it go.
It's going well.
I'm gonna let it go. Hey, I'm gonna make you the co-host, Jade, so you can let some of these people in,
Okay.
because we're gonna want to get started in about 4 more minutes here and get this done, so we can disseminate information and get it started. So I'll be helping, but if you can help along the way.
Ooh.
It's been crazy busy, y'all. I mean, I started that campaign recognizing people for Black History Month, and then we moved over into Women's History Month, and then coming up, we're going to be focusing on mothers who are CEOs and PR people, and then the next focus will be on fathers.
Yes.
So the thing has taken on some legs, and that's why I said, in honor of Pam, I moved our Sunday happy hour to Monday.
Oh,
Because I said I didn't want to monopolize the talk about our judge and this phenomenal record-breaking appointment that's come across. Although
yeah.
I think we should have had our first in 1900s, but we're getting there. So anyway, but I am going to get started here at the magic hour. And I'm going to probably have to shut my cell phone off of the website here, so it won't be ringing while we're talking.
Mhm.
Karen, how was your trip? I haven't talked to you since you had left
It
to
was-
Arizona.
It was great. Show season has started, and so some of the places where we have air shows coming, I'll be calling you guys and saying, can you recommend some folks that I might be able to put in the back of a jet and fly? Because the majority of the folks that we fly have been people who don't look like us. And so I'm trying to definitely increase that.
Okay. Yeah, tell me what that entails. I'm curious.
You're familiar with the aerial demonstration team, the Thunderbirds? Or the
Yeah,
Blue
yeah.
Angels? Okay, so
Right.
it's the Thunderbirds when they go to a show, an open house or an air show. We have the opportunity to put about 3 or 4 folks and fly them in the Thunderbirds during the week, a few days before the air show. And that's just to give them an opportunity to see their taxpayer dollars at work. So you can't put a lot of folks in there, but like I said, about 3 or 4 different flights. Sometimes we have the opportunity to put them in the back seat and let them fly with with an orientation flight. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, we got 2 minutes coming up. I got to ask you something, Karen. How did the HBCU feedback go? I got hundreds of emails.
Yes, it was. Would you please share some of that with me? I have not had an opportunity to really be still for a few weeks, and I'm doing a lot of catch up now, but it was very well received. I'm trying to find out what types of jobs, like from the job fair, our folks got. We're going to be doing that again next year. We're also going to do something sports related. And we do have Bally's as a sponsor, but the HBCU NABJ training day was very successul. We had a lot of kids that really came away, or a lot of students that really came away with a lot of good content. They really loved ours. We gave them a playbook as to what you do, how you do it, and what it looks like. And I think that next go around, we're going to have more spaces, more slots for media related folks to present. And so I'm excited about that.
good.
Well, that's great. Well, we are almost at 7:15. I'm gonna go ahead and get started so we can walk through this process. I'm doing this as a recall because I think I want to celebrate the fact, and it's not about who shows up today. It's about all of this activity is created because I decided to do this daily recognition campaign. And I wanted to reach out to Pam, thank her for giving me that idea, because I put idea about the James Baldwin quote, because that quote was powerful. You know, our history is now, it's not the past, it's our present, and that rolled really well with the situation. And so we're very helpful. Now what that has caused, because we posted on LinkedIn and then you guys reposted on your social medias, it created a lot of dialogue. Some people gave me the okay to put their email addresses in, and they're getting a lot of requests, and some people did not. You know, it's just there's some people like Saptosa didn't want her email there because she wanted to be routed to the person that is handling all the own network channels, because people were contacting her about OWN, because we had a fantastic rollout. As a matter of fact, congratulations to all of us who worked on that. That was the most successful debut of a cable show in history.
It was fabulous.
Queen Sugar was the most successful show. And
Mhm.
I ran, Pam, if you got a Queen Sugar bag, I lost mine to my mother. So, you know, she took
Yeah.
hers. So I'm going to share my screen a little bit. And Jade, you said if you see anybody coming in, let's see who else. Who's 719? Who is that?
Mhm.
Announce yourself.
I don't know.
Okay, well, no problem. Welcome, Sherna.
Hello, Terry, and everyone else. How are you?
We're so glad
Good.
we have
Hey.
you. The video that the email I sent out getting people to come to this call has your video in there. We did the video of the last recap with Cheryl Pelosi Williamson. So you're in there singing.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah. And I just want to give a shout out to Loris. Are you there, sir?
I'm here.
Oh, you've got a showcase coming up, and I'm working on my ad. I got it almost done. So, okay.
Yes, I am.
It's called Meeting Deadlines. Anyway, I'm going to share my screen, and I don't know who 719 is. You want to tell us who you are? 719-257-1249. Okay. All right, I'm going to share my screen. You guys let me know if you can see this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So these are snippets of what we did out there. These people were totally subjective. I knew these people. I know what they did. I know what everybody's done. I know their accomplishments, and I got referrals as well. I didn't turn anybody down. We started out with Black History Month and Women's History Month, as you can see. Tried to match some coloring in there that goes with Eva Coleman, she's an AKA, and Michelle Hoskins, who has the Serbs in 35,000 stores. She loves red, and the black, and try to match the pictures to your picture, match the pictures to the background. Some people give me perfect outfits. So look at Don Kelly's. He was orange. I found orange, so it was great. And so that RRAH is remembering our African American history. And so what we were able to do, and the good point is I have Sherry Hicks right there. Sherry Hicks was able to take her recognition and turn it into our education system, and turn it over to all the people, because she's an educator as well as a marketing person. And she was able to connect KL, Dr. Newhouse, to, that's who that is. Hey, KL. I knew that number was recognizable. To give me clues so that we can go back to creating a full membership. Because I don't know, many of us, Karen, you may remember that back in the day when our membership was, we had voting rights as associate. We were associates at the time. We had voting rights. And so this particular history point was good. And I think the most traction we got is when we started working with the African American history and the Women's History Month, which was amazing. And you guys get to see that screen there. And so when we went into the Women's Month, that became an amazing process where we're doing it. There you are, Dr. G. I tried to match your color to your outfit too as well. And so we put that in there. So we have other themes that are coming up for the Media Collaborative. And there's Music Month, there's Mother's Day, women entrepreneurs who are mothers. And then we want to focus on Black men for June, Father's Day, going into that. So before I go to the second portion of this and tell you what this has done for us, how many of you talked about your experience in your post? I think I could find Karen in here somewhere, but the first person I posted was Pam. So Pam,
You
want
sure
to share?
were, because I didn't, I was totally surprised. I was like, what?
There you are,
What
Karen.
happened? Oh, I love that. That was a great picture.
Okay,
Great picture.
so give us some feedback on the effects of your post, if you don't mind.
For me, I showed it to folks in my office and they were surprised that I have this other life kind of.
Oh, wow.
It has motivated them to ask me to speak a couple times for some activities that we're having. In public affairs, you know, you're kind of segmented, but the opportunities that we have and the skill sets that we possess bleed over into so many other areas. And when people start to kind of see that and recognize it, they do call on you. And so it has opened a few doors that had not been opened before. So I appreciate that.
Well, I just want to thank a lot of you, including Dr. G and Jade. Y'all put that stuff on Instagram. That kind of catapulted the whole Media Collaborative in. And so I got emails. I sent emails to them about Dr. G speaking. What's the name of your speaking group, Dr. G? Can you tell us about that?
Yes, I launched a speakers agency called 24 Karat Speakers for Women of Color. It's all premium speakers, and we're the Nordstrom's a speakers agency just for women of color. So it's real exciting. We have 12 quality experts and incredible women on our platform. So it's a really exciting journey. It's brand new, and I'm excited to see what's happening for 2022.
I love it, Dr. G. And I also sent you, I'm going to share this with the rest of the people if they can lose it, but I sent you a direct message. We have the Scrub Ball coming into Dallas. It's the second annual event. It's a national healthcare program, and they're struggling it's a program built around honoring unspoken heroes and first responders. But it's a convention, it's a career fair, and it's a gala. And I want to share that with all of you actually, but my primary targets on this one would be Jade, because I think the CDC needs to be there. And you need to fly in, and we're going to go to Dr. G's favorite restaurant. But I put it in there because Dr. G, your health and wellness and the speakers group that you have, it needs speakers there. We need to build speakers around that. You guys want to, let me see if I can share the screen of the Scrub Ball so you can see exactly what it does. We got a lot of feedback, and the point of the collaborative is to maintain our relationships, but also to empower. And we've got to continue to empower, because I wrote in one of my columns in the paper, I quoted George Fraser, Black people are going to have to save Black people.
That's right.
Okay, so we're going to have to save each other. And as part of the new chapter of Beepers here in Dallas with Katrina and others, it's going to be important. Can y'all see the Scrub Ball thing there? Okay, so that's the Scrub Ball. And what we're doing is nominate your favorite hero. You see that. And this is first responders. And the majority of the frontline heroes, y'all know they were Black. And so there's the one where you can nominate someone. Here's the event agenda that's coming and the speaking schedule. We're adding speakers to it as we go and creating sessions as we go. But it's an
Terry, it's for Scrub Ball to honor people from across the country, correct?
Right, absolutely. It's a healthcare conference and gala honoring unspoken heroes.
And does it have to be when you say healthcare worker, naturally when you coin it like that, you think of nurse, doctor, everybody, a direct link into healthcare. But what about
well, help me out with that, Jade. We're talking also EMTs. One person nominated as a barber.
Okay, good. I was wondering about social workers.
Jade, do you have any idea what the description frontline would mean? You can answer that.
I would say the people, when they think of frontline, is anybody that has interaction with the public, providing like essential services.
Okay, I love it.
So Yeah, because they were talking about like janitors and custodians, because they do a lot. Like a lot of people don't think about them, but they're on the front line, cafeteria, grocery
Absolutely.
people who work in the grocery store.
Mhm.
They're providing essential services.
Right.
Okay.
And that's how we came with that, where that term became coined about essential workers. We didn't really know that our grocery store clerks, our cleaners, and the people that clean the hospital rooms and all of that. Remember how many of
Oh,
them
yeah,
died in the early part of the pandemic?
Oh, yeah, you're preaching to the choir. You know, I lost my sister-in-law and her daughter on the same day. One died at 8 in the morning, the other died at 6 in the evening. A hospital 4 miles apart, and they wouldn't have let them get together. But one worked as a essential worker for a transportation company I formerly worked for. How about that? The artist formerly known as, and they were considered essential workers, and they were frontline delivering packages. And so yeah, it is those that are considered essential in there. So there's the recognition. So it breaks it down right there. My concern for us on here is we have clients, we have speakers, we have companies. I really think that the CDC should be there. Jade, hint, hint, hint. And so, but Dr. G is carrying all of those new, fantastic, and she's right. The perfect name for that is it's a perfect name for the our speaker group, because those are fantastic speakers who can speak around the experience, and a lot of that experience is people of color. And this is the second annual event, so it's growing and it's growing fast. So it's a lot to do. And there's a note from the mayor, a video there from the mayor of Dallas. I gotta get it right. I'm in Dallas, right, Jade? And then here's all the different items there. So you guys, I put that in the chat. Any other comments? What do you think of that, Dr. G?
Wow, that's amazing. I didn't know anything about it at all. And yeah, that's coming up really soon.
Right.
In 3 months. So we need to get on that.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. Love to be a part of that and have my ladies as well.
Right. All right. So I wanted to make
Terry,
sure.
I just put the information for like the Speakers Bureau, but I highly recommend that when you ask this, like I can mention it, but I would need a formal request to go into the CDC, but highly recommend asking them for a person of color, because CDC is really focusing on equity in healthcare, and they have an equity
Okay.
and inclusion, not a task force, but they have a group within the organization that focuses on connecting with people of color, equity, and because, you know, racism is a public health issue that we declared, I believe, last year. So that plays into our mission of what they're trying to do. But I can definitely mention this opportunity to those folks, but they would need a formal request. But I'll mention it.
Well, and I'm not going to bring up the fact that Black men have been in audacious speeches longer than last year. We would have been declared a health emergency a long time ago, but I'm gonna let that go. Just messing with you. KL, are you there? Oh, I think KL dropped off. She may.
Hey, Terry.
Misty, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm so glad to hear you on the call. Misty is my 3 a.m. person. She gets those emails and sends them back to me. Go ahead, Misty.
I just wanted to mention that I represent the National Association of Health Services Executives, NASI. And, you know, it's a national organization with a lot of health executives. And so if the scrub ball opportunity, if they're looking for speakers or need, just, you know, I just want to put that out there in case there's an opportunity.
I think there is, Misty, and I'm going to connect you to Ken Carter and let you engage with him. I'm gonna do a connection. I'm also do a connection to Jade as well. And it's still, there's also just more than just speakers. There's panels. We need people to come in and own us some space there, and as far as the convention fair is, and also as far as pavilions and sponsorship as well.
Perfect.
And that's a perfect organization, Misty. Also, Misty, this is all about networking, y'all. You do know that someone's in the waiting room, Jada. She says she's in. Let her in. I'm sorry. Okay, I got it. You also, Misty, I am connected to the new ride service, Alto.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
Yeah, and I'm going to connect you to them there because they want a signature with the city of Houston as being a preferred service. And how many of you guys on the call have dealt with Alto? Y'all could speak freely.
I have not.
Well, they are, they're not just like Uber or Lyft. They are a premier service. You get a premier car. And KL says she can't unmute. Try it now, KL. Welcome, Don. We know that you got a short amount of time because you had a gala, I think. Is that right?
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Dawn. Hey.
Hey, Dawn.
Hi.
We're talking about the power of our promotion about Women's Month, Black History Month, how fantastic of a job it has getting us connected to our resources and opportunities. And also in the e-blast that I sent, inviting everybody, is the recap of our last speaker, Cheryl Pelosi Williamson, in your presentation, Don, on health and wellness. And I got about 14 emails where people said they actually went and got those checkups that you talked about.
I'm one of them.
That's amazing. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's great.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
we wouldn't have a call if we didn't have the fantastic Nikki Mayo on the phone. What's up, Nikki?
Hey, Nikki.
Hey y'all, I'm sorry I'm late.
Hey, Nikki.
Good to see
Hey,
you.
Nikki.
Hey
I
y'all.
haven't seen you in a while.
I know I had to record something and I was like, oh shoot, I'm late. My bad. Oops. So hi y'all. Sorry about that.
We
I hope-
understand.
Oh, this is more of a freedom round robin. We're trying to make all the connections. When I did the campaign, I put some people's emails up and some said no. And then based on someone who I knew who you were, I didn't put your emails on there anyway, Nikki. So I said, okay, she's going to get too many emails. They're going to
I do get a lot. I apologize.
know.
I'm trying to participate. So,
Yeah,
hey,
so
y'all.
I'm going to share the screen more times so more people have joined us so we can see what we're talking about here. And let me know when you can see the screen. There's Nikki.
Yes. I can see the screen, yes.
Yeah, there you go. And so this is a combination of Women's History Month and Black History Month. So we had Black men too. I think Ron Carter just joined us. Mita Murday's coming in. Okay, we got some old school up in here. Not that I'm not old school. Mita,
Terry,
how are you, dear?
I'm okay, I guess.
So-
How are you?
All right, I'm showcasing our campaign, and you can see some of the people we reached out to.
Mhm.
Bevan enjoyed his and thing because he's doing a resurgence with the Caribbean, and we're asking him to flavor some things in Dallas and giveaways and to approach. There's Mita right there. And so I just want y'all to know we had a male presence too. I don't want any chatter about, I have no problems knowing that women are Black women are most fantastic.
Well, you said it.
Oh,
There
look
it
at you.
is.
Yeah, I'll own it. And so the Media Collaborative is, we do have a LinkedIn page, and there's a lot of job offers. There's a lot of collaborative offers there. And just record FYI, we have 14 panels submitted at the NABJ conference in Vegas. And I've recommended almost everybody on this call to be on the review. And I'm still getting that word back on how they would be reviewed. And I'd like to pause for a moment and welcome Ron Carter. He's our Pat Tobin Media Professional Awardee too. Welcome, Ron.
Where's Ron?
He's there.
Is he? I don't see him.
I think he's muted.
Oh,
Oh.
sorry. Yeah, I was muted. How are
Hey,
you? How's
good.
everyone doing? Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Ron.
Hi,
Hey,
Ron.
Ron, how you
Hey,
Hi,
doing?
Ron.
Good.
Carter Agency.
See everyone.
So everybody, you have favorite
Hello, everyone.
contact information in the chat. So we can all
Terry, you're going out. We can't hear you.
Terry, you don't have sound.
I've got to go in here and fix it.
You're better.
a downtown office. I'm literally. Okay. Am I being heard?
Now you are. Yeah, you were going in and out.
Okay. Working from a new office, and I don't think it's prepared. I think the computers are older than me, so I'm going to bring in some new stuff. So, Ron, you were the second person we promoted in the event. I noticed on your Facebook page, you had almost 600 likes within hours. Can you give your feedback on how powerful that post was and what it did with you?
Oh, yeah, it was, I don't know, it was just surreal in a way because it was posted and right after it went up, several of my colleagues and friends and everyone started to like it and make comments and stuff. So it was great. It was great. I mean, I think that because I was being celebrated and there are people who think I should be celebrated, my friends at least, and some of my colleagues, they kind of reacted to it. So it was a good thing all the way around.
Oh, great.
And it helps to have a village, it helps to have a village. And I do have a village that kind of follows some of the things I do, and I follow some of the things people in the village do. So that was helpful.
All right, cool. Real quick housekeeping. KL, are you able to unmute this time? I see you signed in a couple of times. There, she left again, so I guess you'll come back.
Yes.
Oh, there you are. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, hi.
Well, we were speaking on the impact of the social media campaign and the fact that we're trying to put together processes that tighten our connection and spread our networks across the global space. And we just want to know what the impact with yours did, because I saw that you posted yours on IG and everything else. So give us your feedback as well.
Just in terms of reactions?
Yeah, well, just your personal reaction and how did it empower, what did it do?
Well, first of all, I appreciated being featured. It was a very lovely graphic. I thought it was well done. So I think that was also some of the response to, I think overall, because it was so well done. And I appreciated that, the people who had an opportunity to see it had very positive feedback. There were people who saw it who didn't comment, but commented to me, and it was just a positive experience to have people to acknowledge that. I think just dovetailing to Ron's statement, that people felt it was a worthy acknowledgement. I don't spend a lot of time seeking, because a lot of my work is behind the scenes so often, and often in spaces where there are agreements that I cannot be public. So it's really lovely just to have people to say, well done. We find you worthy of celebrating.
Okay, well, welcome. I'd like to spend a welcome out to Joella. You there? And also my partner in crime there, C.W. Whitaker. Hi, C.W. Yeah, we can hear you, whoever you're talking to there, C.W.
All right, I'm trying to fix it. All right, how you doing, my brother?
All right, we're doing good. One of the things I do want to show, and I'll share that screen too, because we're going to be strictly on time here. That is advantageous to us. I'm going to go ahead and show you this media collaborative page because Tony works on this, and Manny Otico out of LA and Tony out of North Carolina. And Tony's hasn't joined the call, but we are celebrating the fact. How long did it take him to get a job, Pam?
It took well, I'm not going to comment, but he's got one, and he's happy, and I'm happy for him. We're all happy for him, and
yeah, we had a major celebration. Yeah, because we had a major celebration. This is the media collaborative page on LinkedIn, and a lot of people are members, and then there's pending members. So if you haven't had a chance to do it, I'll put that link in the chat. But here's where we're finding where we post our events, we boost our stuff, and you'll see partners all over the place. You'll see a lot of the events that the media collaboration stuff right now, but there are lots and lots of jobs. Tony and I post the jobs and also projects all the time. And that's Nika Corbett. Nika Corbett has Black-owned Business Box, and she is in her retail space right now. That's why she's not on the call. But we pin these posts. We go out there. Tony's mostly the one that posts, and then Jade posts a lot. And Jade, thank you so much. I mean, every other day there's a job.
Yeah.
I love that.
Really.
So, yeah, and so we have the different jobs that are doing there, and these are all the posts that you see. And I'm just letting y'all know. See, I did promote some brothers in the house.
Yeah, it was wonderful seeing the brothers in the on the being highlighted.
Right. So we want you to get engaged in there, and this would be a good space for all of you to put your events coming up there. And Nikki is one of the best videographers in the world, so I'm expect to see you posting stuff in there real soon, Nikki.
I'll try.
And Dr. G, that speakers group needs to be put in there as well. And any alliances that you're tied to, would be great for you guys to put them in there.
Okay. I you know what? I never even thought about putting the podcast in there. About trying to.
Yeah, most of you guys recognize.
It is good.
The good thing, most of you guys
I'm gonna want to go get the rest of it.
I'll put you over there. CW, we can hear you in your conversation.
Uh-oh. I'm gonna mute out.
Okay. CW has a great television network as well, and a large tie-in. But there's Dallas, so though Dallas folks can recognize that lady. Most of you recognize the people we have. There's Kathy Times, former NABJ president, does a great thing. So, and then there's our Toyota connection, and our celebrity connection there. Alexis brings us a lot of people, and Sherry hers just blew up. And I want to give a high five to our younger, powerful executive, Jade Fulce, because every time something was posted, Jade had to comment. She was like, okay, she commented, she shared, she commented, she shared. It just catapulted. So Jade, you are the winner. And so you get to put stuff in there. Most of you can recognize these people. And this happy hour here was amazing. It was an amazing process of spiritual, and we connected with Melanie Jacobs out of Paris, France. She became a member of NABJ as a result, and a member of Beepers. And we celebrated the fact that these three people won awards, and the awards are up now. So that's where you want to get you into that situation and into that space. And we did some historical stuff there. Mita can appreciate that we recognize Randy Bullock and herself because they were the purveyors and the architects of Beepers.
That's right. You know what? I'm glad you mentioned Meta again, because I pinned her response to me, because I was going to ask her. I remember just hearing some of the history she was telling, and I really love to see her write a book, because I think too much of things that
you heard that, Mita?
Pardon? Is
no,
Mita in the group? Is she in
here? She should be there. Mita,
yeah, because I think that we assume that people know stuff, but you can't assume, and then we forget stuff, and we need to have it written down so that we can fully appreciate the paths that people have gone through to create Beepers and everything else.
Oh, yeah, and Pam, you could recap our last call with our media-related rep we had just a few days ago. And a lot of us don't remember that media-related people had full voting rights. We just didn't vote for ourselves. We voted for everybody when we were associates. And we also, I can say this really with pride because of my 22-year history, but we had the best receptions, the best parties, the best rooms, and we will have them again. So I'm working on that. I bring that up because we had a great call because we're trying to get those full voting rights back. And I'll give you a good example that Nikki, you can jump in here on this one. The media-related jobs are now social justice jobs.
DEI jobs.
They're communications jobs. And so therefore, there's a different relationship than just PR. These are journalists as well, and those jobs are falling into that. And the younger people have no problems with that. And as they're falling into the media family, they're saying that, okay, I need to vote like everybody else.
Exactly.
So there's been some great pushback. And now, those of you who have historically been with NABJ know that there have been some strong lobbying from strong members that says there's no way PR people should have full millions. I won't name any names. Some of them are no longer alive these days, but they used to be the members that said, oh no, PR people can't have vote. They can't have nothing.
Not
but it's
to
changed. I
mention
mean,
how-
bloggers were not considered journalists, and now they are. So we've got to embrace that change, and I think we should get there with that.
Right.
Bloggers still aren't considered journalists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know what? I don't really consider, well, that's a whole nother thing, but I did not know I was involved. There was another thing that came up, Nikki, in that whole conversation that we had the other day, was on Saturday, is that while I was active in NABJ, I was only active in the local part in that time in the 90s. I was raising my family. So when I went on trips and stuff, I didn't go to conferences and what have you. I went on family vacations and that type of thing. And then when I got them out of the nest, pretty much then I started going. But and I say that to say, I think NABJ misses out on more financial opportunities by not combining the membership like PRSA does, National MBA does, so that when you pay your fee, it's automatically linked to your local chapter in your region. You know what I'm saying? So you're already bought in. And often people will be more active if they realize they're already connected rather than, oh, I can make a choice. I didn't pay for my national dues, but I paid my local dues.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
There you have. And Mita, you just joined us back. And Pam had reached out and said that with your historical imprint and the whole architect of the associates and the architect of Beepers, that we should prod you to create a book.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry, I caught the back end. I was trying to, I mean, you're right that there should be that component that really kind of tells,
The
the full
story.
story for the history, as well as highlighting just how important or how much work a small group of people. Some people think sometimes you have to have, a lot of people involved to get voices out there and get action. And it really was not the case. I mean, just like I put in there, Beepers was a outgrowth of frustration and just that lack of being heard, not just in the industry, but within an organization that said it was trying to represent my interest or the interest of telling stories, of power in our community. So it became important for us to do that in the midst of being told, along with, the sports broadcasters, like, you guys and you all just tell the point spread and give the scores and telling, but we fought for photographers to be called photojournalists. So it was a collective just in that to have that out there. So there definitely is, a story to be told. And plus, when you see your work in certain aspects not truly representing what it was established to do, it does become hurtful, in a way. And it does become sad that you put effort out there. You took time away from, your family and friends and your career to kind of make that sacrifice to build a legacy for the future and to see the direction that it's going. So when Terry was telling me about this whole situation, I was like, really? Like, again? You bring the resources to the table, you do the work on the local levels and the national level. And once again, you're made to feel like you're a second-class citizen in this country where we already have enough we have to deal with the majority. We have to deal with that within our organization. So it's very disheartening. And good, bad, or indifferent, when the representation is not there, when your one voice isn't there, at the table, and they're just, like they said at the, I get the Oscars, you're just a placeholder in a seat. That's not good. You know, that's not good. But members have to feel that they do have a voice, and I don't care who claims that they're in charge. You know, they can't stifle the voices, you know, of the many or the strong voices of the few. So yeah, I mean, definitely it's an idea
All
that
right, great, great.
interested.
KL is, we have to make the reconnections with the educators and all the other people like Mita to help you build our request to take an amendment before the board to get it done. And Matali needs our support on that. And she was very frank about what we're up against. And I was smiling because that's the same stuff that that's the same stuff that Mita went through. That whole opposition to understanding media related, or back then it was called associates. Real quickly, I don't want to go past our time. This is a time to celebrate the fact, and you guys y'all still can see the media collaborative. All right, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the chat so you could start posting your projects, people, jobs, and all the other things that are out there. We need to connect. And we need to use each other. We have $1.21 trillion worth of resources, and there's no such thing as duplication. I was just having that conversation with the owner of one haircut company and another. You can't service 23 million Black folks, so why are y'all competing? All right. So the fun part is, and I'll do this one more time to share. I've got City Men Cook coming up. Y'all know that's the largest Father's Day celebration in America. So it's Juneteenth, and we're having all this historical stuff, and a lot of you are involved in it. But we decided, we were going to talk, and then the email said that, let me share the screen and go back to our campaign. I'm just going to go through it right now. And like I said before, the new campaign will be focused on mompreneurs for Mother's Day and media-related mompreneurs, and then we'll focus on Black men for June. And so has anybody got any great quotes? I did Iyanla and I did James Baldwin. So if you got anyone coming up, but this has been a fantastic connector. You see on the corner over there, Melanie Jacobs, she was just blown away by the participating in the webinar and listening to Karen and listening to Cheryl and listening to Don, that she has just pushed a French involvement of NABJ. So I thought that was great. So we've got that, and so we're celebrating our own. So we're going to stick to our plan. Anybody else got? I do wish you all would put your contact information in the chat so everyone can share, and we can have that. You can save that as you go. And we did have some topics, and so the topics were the appointment. Let me stop the share so we can see some beautiful faces now. The talk we were going to talk about hey Vanessa, I didn't see you. I couldn't see the chat with the big screen share. How are you? Okay, so some of the topics we're going to talk about. Cheryl's going to. Oh, that's great, Vanessa. Good.
Hey, everybody. I'm listening.
Oh, we know it.
Hey.
We see you.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Yeah, and Jade, you're not able to post to everyone. What's going on with this? I'm
not either. I can't.
Oh, here we go. It's done. I'm sorry. I'm not in my usual habitat, which is my space at home, and so this particular Zoom sign-in had some. Let's see if y'all can post to each other now. Try it. Okay, and don't forget to post your stuff in the chat about the Speakers Bureau and your contact information. And I don't know if Ken has left the office or not, so I'm asking him to sign in to give it a little expansion on the scrub ball for everybody. And there we go. Look at those names. Anyway, so we thought we were going to give some dialogue, because as PR people, we are writing each other's messages. We are writing each other's messages. We're doing message for others. We're doing reputation management, crisis management. Sometimes we don't get to focus on what we want to talk about. So the first thing we want to talk about is, go ahead, everybody, and share your thoughts on the appointment of Judge, I love this, Ketanji. Don't y'all let it? All right, that's a Ketanji gonna be up in there. So all them judges are gonna have to learn how to pronounce that name, ain't it? I said, this is a blessing. So go ahead, you guys, open talk. Share your.
We're all blushing. We're all blushing. We are so proud. And I looked at her, and I hate to make this comparison because people always tell me, you seem so tall when I talk to you on the phone, but you're short. I'm 5'3". I looked at her under Biden, and she's got to be about 4'11". But I am so proud of her. I knew that she would get the appointment. We waited so long. I don't want to talk about the other women justices that are there, but I think it was our time when they put I can't think of her name now, and I'm at a loss for words. Y'all don't know how disappointed I was not to get to this meeting on time, but nothing went right. So anyway, I'm just saying we should have been there first, you know. There's another white lady replacing Ginsburg. There's a Latin lady, and now we finally have a Black lady. We're always the stepchild, but I was just so proud of the things she said and her responses, especially when they put Amy Klobuchar up there to let her know that she disrespected all children by her acceptance of what critical thinking implementations in
Critical
the
race
school.
theory.
Critical race theory. Anyway, I posted the moment that they announced the vote was over and that she had won the nomination.
Thank you, Sheridan. How about you, Nikki?
Well, we've been covering her at Black Women Unmuted, so I'm really like excited to see everything go down like as we did the transition. She's 5'1", by the way. Just want to put that out there for my short sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew you were shorter than me.
I too am vertically challenged, so I wanted to make sure y'all understood that, you know, great things can come in small packages. But she's been really inspirational. I have always told people I wanted to be the first Black woman on the Supreme Court, and then I gave up that whole law school ambition because I didn't want to go to school that long. So I have been really just loving this and living vicariously through this woman's accomplishment. Her prosecutorial, I can't remember, prosecutorial, if I can ever get that out, history is nothing that's making me shake and shudder. So yay. And I did enjoy watching, believe it or not, as much as I first I hated it to watch the slamming and the ridiculousness that was going on during her confirmation hearings. But I did kind of like the truth moment of like, we get to see exactly who you are. Because the line of questioning that we were seeing that had absolutely nothing to do with what she will do on the bench and more to do with just trying to do dog whistles. I was like, if that's not so telling right before we go into 2022, well, we are in 2022, excuse me, but it was just so telling of this is what our lawmakers are going to do. This is how they're going to approach things. And like asking people, what side of history do you really want to be on? And it's not like, do you want to be Democrat or Republican, but more so like, are you looking at the ideologies that are being, you know, spewed here? Do you want to be part of that? So I like that truth razors of that all, but it did cringe at many times watching the confirmation hearings. It was hard.
Yeah, well, Dr. G, got a statement for us?
Listen, I loved watching her and the sister coming out, but she know how to keep it real cool.
Sister with braids.
When the eyebrow was coming up, and I know she was saying, I was praying for her through the TV. I was like, don't say nothing, just don't say nothing, just keep it cool. They trying to break you, don't let them do it. And so her intelligence was stratosphere above all of those people in there. And so she had nothing to really prove. She just answered the questions and they didn't know what to do with any of that. I know a lot of these people aren't used to dealing with Black women that are, you know, period, and then at a whole different level. So they just couldn't break us. And so Ted Cruz, we got to do our job to get that man under the carpet somewhere. But
Sell it. Sell it.
Excited. And I, like you, Terry, I was like, goody, now everybody got to learn how to pronounce her name. You would like our names, but there you go, Ketanji. So I've been just really, really happy and just so elated that we have made history after 232 years.
Okay.
Question, Dr. G, didn't you at one point feel like they don't deserve her?
Absolutely.
Like they really don't deserve her. Anybody who sat through the Kavanaugh hearings, I mean, confirmation hearings, I mean, watching him cry and spit about drinking beer. It was like, this is your Supreme Court justice? Okay. her calm, cool, collected demeanor. It's not like none of us have had, like we've all had to do that walk at some point in our lives. But it was just so nice seeing it on display and like, and I want y'all to memorize this. And this is what we deal with at work on the regular.
Yeah. Well, look, when you remember Clueless Comey, she was clueless. I mean, the senators were just so enamored of her. They were answering the other ones were answering the questions. It was like, well, we want to know what she knows or prove the fact she doesn't know anything. I mean, it was spot out just how much she didn't know, but it didn't matter because it was like a given that they were just going to roll her in there. So it did make an historic difference. And I was sitting with one of my neighbors, one of my war widows, who's 94 years old. And, you know, she's crying and I'm crying and, you know, and her, you know, her Filipino aide was crying and was like, okay, all of us are having a little moment here. But just explaining the things to her that she too was kind of watching the confirmations and not understanding, but knowing that the state of the situation that we're living in, it's unfortunate because those of us that have to go to these local elected situations, we realize that the divisiveness and the racism that people thought when Obama got elected was just gonna just disappeared was heightened and it was revisited, and we have to always be on our guard and we have to look at, okay, we just got this one shot, but not just Ted Cruz has to go. You know, we have to look at gubernatorial races as well as senatorial races. And we have to get our people to vote. They have to vote. They have to be in those positions. You can't say, oh my God, they're trying to take the vote from me. You know, think of the Montgomery bus boycott, you know, when they said we're not riding a bus, they figured a way to still get to work and they didn't have all of the transport services. So we have to rally in our communities to make sure that whatever obstacle is put in our place to keep our people from voting, young and old and whatever, we don't focus on putting all our business in the street so they come up with a plan of attack. You go behind the scenes and put the solutions in place and get the people to whatever the poll is. If the poll used to be around the corner and it's 2 miles away, rent a bus and a van or get them there. Carpool, get them to the location as opposed to complaining about your lack and your loss of convenience. That's the type of legacy. You know, those are when we're saying that the shoulders we stand on. We were raised above the fray for a reason, and we have to take that responsibility seriously.
But
So
it speaks to our power, Maida. And it's my
Yes.
grandmother's, my column says Big Mama Speaks every week. And this particular column this week says, Big Mama said the gravy on your plate, if the gravy on your plate don't fall on my plate, then you ain't got good gravy. All right. And so that meant that Judge Jackson doesn't need the gravy from the plate of the 47 nays when they walked out of the room before the voting was final. And then they walked out when the celebration was, like they visibly trying to feed their voting base. It was an embarrassment to anything. And then the racist amount of questions that they asked her that had nothing to do with it. And going back to what Dr. G said, I love the way she answered. I've already answered that. Yeah, I've already, you're not going to answer I've already answered that. Just grace and poise, and then the people who introduced her as her friend and her allies. So it was a showcase of grace throughout this whole process for her. And
yeah, she was the Jackie Robinson of this era. And if people don't realize that we lost him because of the strain that he had to undergo, and telling him in 1947, we're talking about what she had to deal with in 2022, but him in 1947 when they basically spit at him and attacked him and his family, and and he still had to sit there and take all of that and come across humble and graceful. Again, it's almost an embarrassment when you ask some of these major league players that are making, goo gobs of money who he was, and they don't know who he is. And that's again, that's a mark on us. So if we're saying now that we want to do Ketanji, we got to keep that going. We have to instill that now.
But here's a key factor though. There are 47 people that didn't vote. And because of the way we voted, we had 53 that did. So we've got to wake ourselves up to voting locally and regionally, and not just so focused on the larger vote, but to vote locally, because that 53 that we voted in the office did this, and we need to minimize that 47.
But I also want to say, Terry, it's not just the people who voted. There was a large Women of Color Coalition that was behind her. Because I know I went to a lot of meetings of like the strategy of like, it was the Divine Nine, Women of the Divine Nine, it was LULAC, it was Higher Height. So I think we can't underscore the power of women mobilizing, because they had us calling, emailing. There was a lot of mobilization across the world to really move our senators to vote a certain way. And even if they didn't.
You're right there. And I'm not discounting that. I'm just talking about the voting power. And we had one here. I don't know if you were there, Dr. G. It was called Pass Her the Gavel. And it was run by the Young Black Lawyers group here, about millennials. And we spoke at the breakfast. My pastor, one of my former pastors, Sharon Patterson, spoke, and she talked about the obstacle she had been the first Black female minister in the Methodist system, and how the bad notes she got, the meetings she did go to, and she said, I know what she went through. So those young lawyers, which is primarily Black men and women under the ages of 40, were powerful too. Pastor the gavel. We had 19 breakfasts, sent out 3,000 letters. Of course, we didn't sway Cruz, but he got a bunch of letters. And if we can turn those letters into votes, we won't have to worry about Cruz.
Well, I want to also add, because we cannot forget the support. So the white world got to see how we as a family can be. When Cory Booker came to her aid and edified her in every way and brought all of us to tears, say, I'm not going to stand by and let you attack my family. And they don't understand our family dynamics and how our community is. They don't get it, because I did my dissertation on fictive kinship. That's what it's called. When us as Black people, we all are connected and we all are kin to each other regardless. And the world got to see that. And I was so thankful that as the Black man in the room, he stood up and said, regardless, I'm gonna tell you who you are, my queen. So that to me spoke volumes, and like I said, brought everybody to tears. And even when I see it now, I still, that's what we're looking for. So that unity. So I wanted to definitely mention that as well.
Awesome, girl. You nailed it. Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry. That's
okay. I've just got to say something with regard to the lady who was talking about that our Black lady should have been there before the other person. But I feel like it's just like with the suffrage movement. If white people gonna move, white Black men gonna move, they're gonna move at least one of their white people first. But Biden was the exception. And then the other thing that I wanted to say is that I feel like she went through the Angry Black Woman challenge. It's like we're always being challenged to see if we're going to react like an angry Black woman. And I just don't think that we need to work towards not even identifying ourselves as that way. And also, why are we still having to be the ones to take the high road when no one else is taking the high road? I mean, I know we need to take the high road, but I'm saying it's at some point, if you're not taking the high road, then we're going to go on the low road together and I'm going to bring you up. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes we need to be Black man, Black woman, slap a oppositionist. Just slap him. Shut up.
Sharon is absolutely right. Sharon is absolutely right. That's what Kamala, that's what our vice president should basically be at this point.
Right. Karen?
She's taking a lot of heat. Go ahead.
I was gonna say,
now, something also, Mita, that you brought that up, that was historical to see Michelle Obama there, and our Black vice president and a Black one. That was just, I had to get another box of tissues, I swear.
in our lifetime, that was special.
Yeah.
What really stood out to me as well was seeing her daughter look at her. And that spoke volumes. And I think that in a lot of ways was also the mentoring of a mother still teaching her daughter. And even in that moment, recognizing my generations are watching, and this impacts not only my daughter, but other daughters, other women with daughters, other parents with kids. And that was a tissue moment for me as well.
Oh, amen, Karen.
That photo, by the way, that photo was done. That photo was actually taken by a young woman on top of that.
Or was?
Yeah, she's not even like on the payroll. She's like an intern or something. But yeah, they did a whole story about the young woman who took the photo of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's daughter looking at her. And it makes you think about the importance of, diversity everywhere, including in that scrum of in the photographer's pool, because she had to see that as an image to have. To see the value in that. And a lot of times our experiences are discounted or only seen through the white gaze. So I love the fact that it was a sister that did that. I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Yes.
Very young, and they did a beautiful interview with her. I loved it. I think it was on Good Morning America. It was excellent.
I'll find her name and put it in the chat once I find it.
Cool.
I think one of the things that was so egregious about that whole hearing was that those senators that attacked Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, they knew that she could not and would not react, right? Because Black people, us, we're supposed to take all this stuff that white people put at us, whether they do it in private or whether they do it in public, especially at those hearings. I don't know if you saw the defense minister. He kind of went through some of the same thing, and you can see the judge she was very angry, but she still had, I think one of the ladies said, she still had to keep her cool and act like everything is okay. And I think that that they have to do something about that whole situation with those hearings, because what they threw at her and what they said to her and questions they asked her, like define a woman, I think that it was really degrading for the Senate. It ricocheted right back to the Senate, because people who are watching outside of this country, who's not involved in our Democrat and Republican fight, they're looking at us and saying, boy, them Americans really crazy. I mean, here's this woman, she's smarter than everybody in the Senate. She's smarter than anybody in any of those. You look at her credentials and you put it up against any one of those judges that she's getting ready to go sit next to work, and her credentials is unmatched in every level, right? But because she's a Black woman, she has to sit there and take all this nonsense from people who basically can't even walk in her shoes. So looking at that was really an abomination to me. I was really angry, but then I was happy for her because she handled it with grace and dignity. She didn't give him the opportunity to call her. I think one of the ladies earlier said angry Black woman. I think that's what they were hoping, that she would do some craziness like that. But that woman has been striving all of her life. There was no way she was going to do anything like that. And when you look at her dad, she said something that really resonated with me when she said that she was a young girl, 8 years old, sitting across the table from her father as he was studying for his law degree, okay? And that tells me right there everything I needed to know about her, right? That she was there sitting at the table across from her dad as he was studying, and she was doing whatever she was doing, coloring books or reading or whatever it was. So they're always trying to break us in this country. And so it's really important for us, and and I love this group because it's really important for us to learn that we have to really work together and not try to, get on each other and be angry and to be vicious and hateful with each other, because there's people outside of our community who are doing that to us, and we don't need to be doing the same thing to ourselves. So the next time a Black person do something to you that you think is so bad that you got to cuss them out, well, why don't you just stop and take a couple of deep breaths, realize that, this too will pass. Because I'm telling you, this country has just got its foot on our necks, and for holy Christ, they're not going to let up. They're not going to let up.
That's amazing.
I want to say this. Let me say this, Terry, because I've been trying to say this. How many of you felt bigger than, greater than better than the people that were interviewing Ketanji. I mean, Ron is saying we know how to, we know future deportment. We know exactly what to do now. We already knew that. And I personally feel that the members of the Senate, that especially Mitch, he was sitting over in a corner just seething. We are better than them. I just want to know, did you feel that at that moment? We always feel this because we know how much we've taken. They're suffering from delusions of grandeur when it comes to Black women.
Yeah, just to be honest with you, Sheridan,
or better.
Just to be honest with you, Sheridan, I didn't need that hearing to feel that. I've been feeling that. I've been feeling that since Big Mama told me.
I feel so much better than those people sitting there interviewing her. And then when like Ron said, when she said she was watching her father study for his law degree or to pass the bar or whatever, she said at the same time, my mother was working to put him through college. They don't, they try to hide their little skeletons in the closet. You don't know that this white wife put her doctor husband through college until they get a divorce.
Right,
I mean, and we're trained to tell the same kind of lies and assume the same kind of posture. But what she did was she opened up traditional Black indulgence in getting us to where we are today.
There you go. There you go. Thank you for sharing.
I feel so much better than the people who sat there smirking at her.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Anybody want to respond to her question? How do you feel? Did you feel better? Because I'm telling you, I've been feeling that
Terry,
way
I'm
since
like
Lucille
you.
Allen was born.
I'm like you, Terry. I've always felt like the whole descendant from kings and queens. So like my history, I didn't have to wait to get to elementary school, or actually I started school like, at 3 because, once I started talking, they just had to find some place so I could shut up. But I've always felt in that situation because I have to deal with that on the local level, going to these local meetings that are, that are now Republican controlled, to let them know, I'm going to speak my piece because we pay the second highest taxes in the country and I don't care who you are. So I've always felt that way. And I think it's important, to Ron's point, that's where our own messaging and the things that we're putting out to support her and to also keep that perspective about our history and the many shoulders, that we stand on. We have more heroes and sheroes than Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, not to take anything away from them. But, Vernon, if there wasn't a Vernon Johns, we wouldn't have Martin Luther King. So there's always, that type of scenario. 1855, Sojourner Truth basically pulled her top open and said, "Am I not a woman?" when they questioned her sexuality, when she spoke about women's rights. And I'm talking about that's the 1850s. So our history is strong. Our leadership, our brilliance is significant. And, Sojourner didn't have the Harvard degree. She didn't need it, but she could still tell it like it was in a whites only setting in upstate New York. And she was a precursor to the suffragette movement before a Susan B. Anthony. So we have a lot of that lost history, which is kind of, where my focus is kind of going with my own publication and platform, because if we don't understand that history and the foundation that we stand upon to highlight those kings and queens, we're not going to motivate, this generation of X, Y, Z, or whatever else, whatever title Madison Avenue gives us, to say this is who we are and this is what we're about. So this is where we can do this, but we have to get stronger in our own foundational units and collaborations, like Ron said.
Well, I just want to say, first of all, that I think I don't know about anybody else, but I'm just surprised and I'm shocked at how they comported themselves. I really am.
I'm not surprised or shocked.
I'm surprised and shocked. I mean, just from a human standpoint, why would you treat another human like that? But
they did.
Yeah.
Although I'm not a fan of Clarence Thomas, they did it the same way. Yes,
Yeah.
they do.
But I've got to go, guys. I'm enjoying this conversation. I hate to leave, but I have to. I have a client.
All right. There's one. I'm gonna put
Make that coin.
So we promised we would talk about the other half, so I'm going to talk about it. But one thing as I can go to, and I want to reach that out to us. And the people on this call are not the people I'm talking about, because we stand in the gap for each other. But we still have a cultural backlash against our own. And I was looking at all the people coming out talking about Will Smith. I says, this reminds me, and I put it in the chat for Anthony Brother said that he calls himself a cultural memory specialist, and we've lost our memory. We have surrendered, we let our names go. We have surrendered our way of life. We've lost our solidarity and our unity. And I never saw so much solidarity as when we were trying to get this judge confirmed. It just came out of nowhere. Nobody had to talk to nobody. Nobody had to hold a meeting. Just like Dr. G said, we showed up and showed out. And so we have got to get back to that, because the vitriol that went, people trying to second guess Will Smith and Chris Rock. That whatever happened, they have to come from Chris and Will. But we also have to be really wise. And so I'm going to lead this because we're past our time and I want to spend 2 minutes. We have to be really wise with what's going on. In my article I put out there the other day about the gravy, I said Will Smith doesn't need the Academy's gravy because they don't accept his apology. And then his sentence was way more harsh than 10 years. I mean, like, I need to be there. He going to win an Oscar and he'll have to show up. That's fine. But that whole backlash where we come in talking about, Jade and Will's marriage is toxic. Chris Rock was the better man. No, Chris also had, he has so much unknowns there that I don't think we should have played in that pool as people of color. We should have turned around and told the Academy, your sentence is harsh. You haven't done this for anybody else. And you shouldn't even consider taking someone's Oscar, although you didn't, because you didn't take the Oscar from the last villains who would look just like you. And so that goes back to what Mita says, what Dr. G has said, and all of us, that we've got to pull back. And what Bron said, we are in a family of like people, and we should learn how, when we come together and enrich each other, that's all we need, because we have that power. Any comments on the Chris Rock Will thing, people, before we go?
Dr. K.L. Newhouse had a comment. She's put
Go ahead, KL.
No, I had my digital hand raised when we were discussing the KBJ appointments.
Go ahead. Whatever you have to say it.
Yeah, I have no additional input for the dead horse that is the Oscar slap. I just can't give the energy to it. We can be.
What do you have to say about Ketanji?
Yeah, so with Ketanji, for me, because I guess in anticipation of your email, saying that this was the topic to speak on, it really was a moment of looking back, because honestly, Pauli Murray and Constance Baker Motley, if everything were proper in succession, should have been the first, because Thurgood Marshall ascended to the kind of stature that he did because Pauli Murray wrote a lot of what became the briefs and the rhetoric that was contained in Brown versus Board of Education. If you go back and look at the architect of so much of that work, the same way the architect of the March on Washington were women before it became the March on Washington, when it was the March on Washington for Rights and Jobs, and that part somewhat disappeared. But I think about the succession would have been Pauli Murray, Constance Baker Motley. And it's because of Constance Baker Motley's nephew that I attended the law school that I attended, where I was one of 12 out of a class of 215. And they came for us constantly. Nooses in our student boxes during final exams. You get 1 grade in law school per semester. That's the final exam. Wow. So when I talk about what this means, it is very much a spirit of what has been, because my sheroes are Shirley Chisholm, who was political and social justice, Ida B. Wells, who was media and social justice, and Constance Baker Motley and Pauli Murray, who were law and social justice. And all of those areas are the areas that I have my life's work in. So I just want to say that it is phenomenal, but like everything, it is so beyond overdue because we oftentimes have to go several generations before what should have come to us has. And I think our priorities are just so askew right now, which led into your talking points, Terry, for this conversation with respect to Chris Rock and Will Smith. And that is, we're spending too much time discussing things that don't have a.
Yes.
I don't swear. So fill in the blank. We don't have a thing to do with policy and impact.
I
Because
know.
if we were really wanting to be talked about a couple that need to be talked about, it needs to be Jenny and Clarence Thomas.
Right.
That's the
And
couple
they need
who
to
are
be
making.
silenced.
That's the couple who are
That's
making moves that are
real.
literally
That's
affecting
real.
our lives.
There you go.
That's
Whatever
real.
Jada and Will decide to do in their home, and let me say this, they love each other
Preach.
because they're still together and they have decided what works for their marriage. Chris Rock and Will Smith need to go somewhere and have a brother-to-brother conversation because he didn't need to come for a Black woman and he didn't need to use his monologue the second time on a major stage to come for a Black woman. So Chris Rock has his own issues where he also sat in a room full of 3 other white comics and talked about who he thought was okay saying the N-word. So we
No,
don't
no,
do
no,
it
no,
like that.
no, no. He allowed them to say it. They didn't talk
We-
about it. He just kept saying it. Like he let them say it in front of him.
And
Louis
repeatedly
C.K.,
listen to the
whatever his name
entire
is. Yeah.
clip.
Yeah, but
But-
it's that same house
But
Negro
my point
syndrome
is,
and that self-hate that we need to get. And
that's
institutional
it. My
racism has
point
created
is,
a high level of
we have
self-hate.
become infected by the same anti-Blackness that drives people like Jenny Thomas, where you can sit up every night and be married to a Black man and be just as hateful and anti-Black as possible. So what I'm suggesting is that, again, which has already been said, we need to double down, triple down, quadruple down on voting, because if people believe that voting doesn't matter, there'd be no KBJ. If people believe that because we wouldn't have had the Senate seats, we wouldn't have had the election, we wouldn't have had the opportunity, just a sliver, to make this difference. But the point of it is you're not mathing correctly. If you're not getting the results, then you fire the people who you've elected. You don't
Right.
stop voting.
Right.
That's a zero-sum game.
Well,
You
I think
start
I
electing
want
more
to just
people who will do what you want. And the reason that KBJ became KBJ is because Clyburn cut the deal that we often don't cut. He went and said, I will give you South Carolina, Biden, which will end up swaying the country and pulling you out of,
right.
leprosy. And because of that, this is what you will give us. We don't harness that kind of collective power.
Well,
Right.
and we have $1.21 trillion of collective power. So it still goes back to, and I want you to revisit what I put in
But
the
you know what
chat.
we do? We spend time Instagramming how we're in Gucci and Louis Vuitton and luxury brand therapy. Now, if
Well,
Gucci and Louis
let me-
Vuitton, I had a deal with them, I'm gonna wear everything possible. And it's not that I don't own any, but I'm not flashing it anywhere in a public space if I had a forum or a platform with millions of people when they're not giving me a brand deal. So all I'm doing is earning enough money to give it back to somebody who doesn't look like me. So we have the power, we don't leverage it properly. So
you're preaching to what I'm saying. If we're a $1 trillion in spending industry, consumer industry within this country, that's the gross national product of the 9th largest nation in the world. So we have to switch our mindset. That's why I put in the chat, I'm going to put it in again, is the things you learn from Anthony, how we've lost our cultural memory, we need to restore it. And so, because once upon a time when we were colored, we were pretty powerful. But as soon as we got the illusion of integration, which was not integration, but assimilation, our lives changed. So we need to do that. And then the disconnect between the young and the old needs to be repaired. I do appreciate everyone for being here. I do want to put some housekeeping issues in here. We're attempting to try to have a public relations, media related entrepreneur career fair and going into Vegas. And I've connected to a few PR companies, but we all need to collectively start emailing each other and say, who can we pull to the table so we can focus on, I've already talked to, I don't know if you guys know this, but look it up. Hurdle.health is a Black owned mental health care company for Black people. And he has signed contracts with everybody, Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, all of them. So when you go into that EAP program with your employer, you can choose Hurdle Health. And that's where, back to what Kale said, we need to be choosing. So, and I'm asking him to help lead the charge to get us that whole thing on PR companies, entrepreneurship, and also our Black mental health. It is important that we have a healthy NABJ, healthy BBRS, and a healthy entrepreneurship. And Dr. G's on this call because done a fantastic job and in emotional wellness throughout. She's done it with my cooks. She's done it with the whole country. And I don't think we should move forward. We don't have people like her dropping down on us across the board. That's why I put the scrub ball in there. We are here to connect, empower, and move the needle. I want to give a special shout out because I don't know how she does it, but Jade has followed and reposted and shared every post I've made. And I was wore out making the post, because I was doing like 6 a day, and I had to design them. And I put one out there, and KL just basically texted me and said, "That's not the picture I want. You got to change that." So we were busy, and it's a powerful thing. You guys are more powerful than ever, and we need to continue. That's why I asked you to save the chat. And I'm going to end with prayer because I know I've been through a lot with my job loss and what I've had to go through, and people have stood in the gap and stood up and did what they had to do, and both financially and spiritually. So I'm going to end this call, and I'm going to thank you guys because this is not over. I just wanted to have us celebrating our own call. So because this thing with Ketanji, I love it. I think I should buy all of the Supreme Court justices a black T-shirt that says Ketanji and send it to them. What you think, KL? But I just love it.
May I add this? If you do such a thing, and I know we're talking hypotheticals, make it her full Ketanji Onika Brown Jackson.
There you go. Send them all a T-shirt. See if they're gonna wear it to the next session. But anyway, let's bow our heads in prayer. Loving Father, it is staggering to realize that you yourself, God, took on mortal flesh so you could come and pay the price for my sin and my transgressions so that I could be forgiven and be great. It's a thing of eternal wonderment that God should clothe himself in human form so to become the only possible sacrifice for our sins so that we would have everlasting thanksgiving. So Christ broke his body and spilled his blood so that us doing what we need to do amongst ourselves, and especially with people who look like us, and by believing in the word of God and moving in our cultural spirit, that we will have everlasting life. But while we're here, we will praise our own, raise our own, and grow our own. In your name we pray, amen, amen, amen.
Yeah.
So I thank you all for being here. Go ahead and take a chance to save the chat. And I did drop this in here, but most of you have your memes. And continue to repost them. They're still good. And help me figure out the fathers and the mompreneurs who are in our field out there too for next month. And I'm blessed that this is recorded. So the 114 people that signed up who are not here will get a copy of it when it records and posts. And I do need to reach out to you, Nikki, about that as well. Put some
Sorry, can I just make one quick statement? It'll be quick.
Okay.
Because I did post something about, because this is important, and I think this is timely. And I did put something in the chat because you and we had talked about this, and the focus is on the health and wellness and doing something in Vegas and tying into the voting, because that's like a key time period. So we're looking for resources and supports to do something in Vegas that capitalizes on this whole collaboration, but also can put a focus on health and wellness in our community. You know, the suicides, cancers. Cancer is one of the focuses that's coming out of the White House, including mental health, opioids, and veterans. So there's an opportunity there now that we have connections. And that's what I was saying. This could be our moment to, bring in our vice president, our sister in the struggle there, and to really address some of the issues that's happening in our industry. And as Terry said about the trillion, that less than 5% of all of the dollars that all these global DEI people have these titles, less than 5% goes to diverse media platforms. That's our community. Right. So we need to focus on getting those resources and messaging out there. So My email is out there. Let's get this together. If you got contacts, content, whatever, let's kind of make this happen and really make this convention impactful for the long term and in our community. Hey, I kept it within.
You did good, girl. I'm gonna have to give you a. It ain't like one of them emails you sent.
I want my Katanji t-shirt. I want my Katanji t-shirt.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and post that for that. I'm gonna get something.
When is the convention? When is the NA?
August 3rd to the 7th. Is that correct? It's early August.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I also submitted for a session.
Send me your session because I'm putting a list to the
title.
programming chairs because
Yeah.
no one has been called to review those, and some things have been turned down. I like what I see in the chat. We're beginning to connect. Let's make sure we keep each of us informed. So if each of us have an opportunity to push something forward, we can endorse it. Okay. And
make sure on the emails, because again, I didn't get the email regarding the meeting on the voting after being asked to.
Nobody, I don't think nobody got that email. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
I didn't either.
I was like,
if Terry didn't tell me, I wouldn't have known about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, apparently I fell off the list.
Terry, I emailed NABJ about I never received any conference related material. I received death notices or a lot of the death things, but I never received anything from the conference. I get it from NAHJ.
Can you give me an email on that if you don't mind?
Yes, I definitely will.
Okay, I'll forward that to our media related board chair. She needs to champion us and get all those things in there. I'll make sure she gets it. But please send me an email on that if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay. And anybody else, any more housekeeping stuff? I think we do. We have the power. By the way, just for record, for posture's sake, if we talk about bringing Dr. G in and doing this health thing and collaborating, we need to close our opportunity, and then we need to send that to the development email first so they don't know it's there. But once we close and secure our own sponsors and relationships, we'll do that. So that development needs to get that because there's real estate still left. I still think we need a PR career fair and an entrepreneur career fair. And I do think that several of you here will be great for health and wellness. Nikki would be great for entrepreneurship. We need to get it done. Okay. And I've done this whether I hold office or not. I've been doing this for 22 years. And I am the king of the best receptions ever at NABJ. I'm just gonna let you know that. So,
you got receptions, I got suites.
Get your drink on. So anyway, guys, thank you all, because most of you have poured into me, and y'all know about job loss and not having any income since October. And that shows you I'm a good investor. So I appreciate all of y'all for what you've done and what everybody has done. Just a fantastic job. Let's continue to keep each other informed and take the high road when we have to. But like Sharna say, we have to slap somebody, let's slap them. And so I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for the call. And let's get our emails going and develop the health and wellness platform, the receipts, the reception, the suites. And there are a lot of Black-owned companies have been reaching out to me to tell us, can we get you, John, or your media-related people over to our businesses and Vegas? And I think we should do it. I'm a member of MOBI, which is Marketing Opportunities for Business and Entertainment. Every conference we have, 3,000 people show up. We had a Black Shop Day. We got a bus and we went to Leimert Park. We went to Chocolate City in Chicago. Went to Harlem in New York. So I know there's a Black business in Vegas because I work with Chef Jeff. He's a client. And so we want to, if we can drop some dollars on some Black folks when we get there, we can do that. So we got a lot to think about. So I want to see a bunch of emails going to all of us. God bless each and every one of you. And thank you so much for keeping me engaged and keeping me viable.
Yeah. Hey, Terry, I just have a question when you're closing. Yeah. No,
Go
just
ahead.
to you. No, just to you on the collage. Yeah. I just want to know how I can get my picture added since I was featured.
Okay, well, no, the collage, if you go to my website, you're there. I just cut and paste something to put in the e-blast, and I apologize for missing you out. And you're not you're the third person to say, well, where my picture at? But I got y'all all in there.
Because the collage was so beautiful. I wanted to actually have it printed.
Okay, I'll send it to you. I'll send you the whole one.
Have all the spaces
Yeah,
on
that
it,
was
but-
just 4 pages. It's a 9-page collage. So
Yeah,
I'll send it to you.
but
Where
it was
do I
done so
find
well.
it?
Yeah, and you have to forgive me. I haven't had Sheridan helping me because she had back problems. So
No, that's okay. I
it's
just
just been
wondered.
one of me, and so I'm overwhelmed. So,
No, I just wondered what I did to get left off since I was teaching. I was like, well, what
Well,
happened?
isn't she special, y'all?
What did I do wrong? So no, thank you so much. Because like I said, I really want to have it
Yeah, I'll send it to
printed.
you on Wednesday, but I
Yeah,
promise that
thank you so much.
I must
No,
get a promise that you will prod me until I get it done.
yeah.
All right.
Anyway, thanks for a great
Thanks,
meeting.
everybody. God bless
Thank
you
you.
all.
Thank you, Terry.
Save the chat. I'm
Bye-bye.
closing out.
Bye, everyone.
I'm closing. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Let's
y'all.
see.